Welcome to Law Firm Marketing Mastery. I'm Christopher Small. Law Firm Marketing Mastery brings together the best coaches in the industry to teach you how to crush it with your law firm. Imagine having a bunch of experienced mentors teaching you their expertise, packing decades of research, testing, and tough lessons into a concise curriculum. I've created one of the premier law firm coaching programs available anywhere, and it's free. This is a show that I wish I had a decade ago. Now, this show is about you, and I'm here to help you start and build your best law firm. So make sure to stay up to date with everything going on here, as well as getting some killer free stuff by signing up for the newsletter at lawfirmmarketingmastery.com. If you're new to the show but want to know more about what I teach here at Law Firm Marketing Mastery, check out the Getting Started page at lawfirmmarketingmastery.com/start-here. That's where I've got the fundamentals of starting and building a successful law firm, such as choosing a niche, naming your firm, search engine optimization, internet marketing, leadership, mindset, and more. That stuff is all obviously extremely important to your success, so make sure you get a handle on that as well. I've also got Law Firm Confidential, a members-only site dedicated to starting and building a successful law firm, and the Inner Circle, an exclusive mastermind group for lawyers wanting to take their firm to the next level. Details on that at lawfirmmarketingmastery.com, or just give me a call or even email me at chris@lawfirmmarketingmastery.com, and I'll tell you exactly what you need to know to get started with that. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you here at Law Firm Marketing Mastery. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Law Firm Marketing Mastery podcast. I am your host, Christopher Small. I'm here as always, only tonight I'm here with a heavy heart. I'm deflated. I am exasperated. I am thunderstruck. I am at a loss for words. I have just finished watching Super Bowl 49, and if you didn't know, I am a huge Seattle Seahawks fan. I live in Seattle. I've been here since 2008, and I've been rooting for the Seahawks since that time. When I got here, they were terrible. I think they were coming off a 4-12 season or something like that. They fired their head coach. They brought another coach in for a year. He sucked. They fired him. Then they finally brought in Pete Carroll, and things turned around. So I've seen these guys start from zero, from terrible, and rise up to Super Bowl champions and now Super Bowl runner-up. And so it was a tough game. If you're a Boston fan, congrats. Yeah, if you're just a casual observer, I'm sure you're wondering what was going on. But tough loss, real tough. But they gave me great ideas for this week's podcast. This is going to be a podcast that I just talk, like a narrative podcast. I don't have an interview or anything this week. And we'll just get to it. The topic of this week's podcast is 3 lessons learned from the Seahawks loss. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Okay, the Seahawks lost again, relatively devastating, only because it seemed like they had victory in their hands. I was basically celebrating their Super Bowl victory already, and then in the blink of an eye, boom, it was changed. It was over. It was done. But out of every defeat comes lessons, and I came up with 3 real quick ones that I wanted to talk about today, that I think we can all use in our businesses, in our lives, and just in general. So let's just get to it. So lesson number 1 is to stick with what works, right? I think we all know where that lesson applies in the Super Bowl game. The Seahawks had the ball on the goal line. If you don't watch the Super Bowl, the Seahawks had their ball on the goal line, on the 1-yard line, with about 20 seconds or so left. They were down by 4 points. It was 2nd down, and they had a timeout left, and the clock was stopped. So they weren't in a rush. They could have basically called any play that they wanted to. They have Marshawn Lynch, who is one of the best running backs in the league, and they just needed 1 yard to win the game, basically. Instead, what they did was they dropped back for a pass, which was, in all honesty, a relatively safe pass in the grand scheme of things. There was a Patriots player that made a ridiculously good play and intercepted the ball. Game was over. So lesson number one though here is to stick with what works. Don't overthink yourself, and definitely don't go away from the things that are your bread and butter. A perfect example of this would be with my firm, right? Traffic tickets. We get a lot of business from doing Google AdWords. Okay, the clicks are relatively cheap, the conversions are good, we make good money, right? So it would be not smart, I guess, to turn away from that and to go after something else and leave that behind, right? Because that's something that we know works. Um, and that's a lesson here too. If you have something that works, it's definitely okay to pursue another avenue, but hold on to that. The other thing that you can do instead of pursuing another avenue is to double down or really refocus on what is working and try to make it even better. So for us, for example, instead of spending $500 a month in Google AdWords, we could up that and spend $1,000 a month. And by spending $1,000 a month, we should or could potentially double our revenue from what we're already doing. We wouldn't know that until we actually spent the money, but the likelihood is greater that we would be successful than that than if we went and started something new, because we already have a pattern of success there with that. So whatever is working with your firm, whatever you're doing that is good, keep it up. Don't switch it up. And when you're in the courtroom, if you have a method that works, stick with it. Don't change it up. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess, is the easy response. Okay, so that's lesson number one. Lesson number two, as a leader, the buck stops with you. All right. One of the coolest things that I saw from this whole experience was Pete Carroll, after the game in the press conference. They asked him what happened. He didn't make any excuses. He didn't blame anybody else. He said, it was my call. We talked about it. Blah, blah, blah. I decided that we're going to run or we're going to throw it on second down because we can run it on third or fourth down, and whatever. My guess is that he didn't make that call. That he didn't know. He may have been a part of it and said okay or whatever, but my guess is that somebody else probably at the end of the day had that final decision. But Pete Carroll is the leader. He's in charge. And when something goes right, he gets all the credit. When something goes wrong, he takes all the blame. It would have been really easy for him to lay blame somewhere else, to say that he didn't make that pick, that he didn't okay that play call, but he didn't. He stuck with it. He took all the blame, and that's what real leaders do. And in your law firm, you're going to have to do the same thing sometimes. Things aren't always going to go right. Your employees are going to make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes you're going to make a mistake. Sometimes things are going to happen that are outside of your control completely, and it's going to make you or your firm look bad. And you, as the leader, have to be willing to sort of fall on the sword or take the brunt of that blow from the outside. That's just what part of what being in charge is. Okay, you're going to have to be that person that does that from time to time. It's not always fun. Very rarely is it fun when you have to do something like that. But it's something that's necessary. And it's something that if you do it and if you have people with you, they will stick with you for forever if you do that for them. Because that's the true sign of a leader, is sticking with it when times are bad. It's real easy to be in charge, real easy to be a leader when everything's going good. But it's those times when things are going bad, when you have a real opportunity to sort of stand up or hide, that people really get that respect for you. And for me, Pete Carroll did that today. He did a great job of that. Whether or not he made the call or not, it took a lot of guts to stand up there and basically say, yeah, it was my fault. If there's anyone to blame, it's me. And the buck stops with that. That's lesson two. As a leader, the buck stops with you. Lesson number three the last lesson from the game tonight, not the last lesson, but the third of three that I came up with on the fly here, are, there are always opportunities to second guess, but don't let them haunt you. Okay, and this was something that I heard Russell Wilson talking about after the game at his press conference. I think they asked him about, if you could do it all over again, would you do the same play or whatever? And he basically said, yeah, I would do the same play. We made the right throw. We did the right thing. It was a good call. It just didn't work out, And so all I can do is know here, sitting right now, that we put the work in. We did the scouting. We made the right play call. We did the things that we were supposed to do, and it didn't work out. So all I can do now is look forward and try to get better for the next time. Try to improve for the next time. But I'm not going to let myself be haunted by what's happened in the past. And this is related to a Facebook post that I saw from one of my friends who's a lawyer, who said something to the effect of, I could have put that extra paragraph in my brief. I could have done that, said that extra cool thing in voir dire. I could have made that other argument in motions, or I could have struck that one juror, or I could have done XYZ. The fact is, you're going to do your best all the time, or you should be doing your best all the time. And if you're giving your all, if you're doing your best, then you should be able to live with the outcome. Whether you win or lose, it is what it is. You did your best. That's all you can do. You can learn from what happened the time before. You can think about adding that paragraph in the next time, but you can't let that experience from the past haunt you moving into the future. That's basically what Russell Wilson was talking about. He basically said, look, I did everything I could. We did everything as a team we could. We prepared as hard as we could. We did everything we could. Blah, 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 blah. And it didn't work out. So I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm going to see it as a learning experience. And we're going to come back next year and we're going to kick everybody's ass. Okay, that's what he should have said. I don't know if he said the end part, but that's what he should have said. And that was another big lesson for me. Something that I take forward into my business, into my my life, and I think you should too. Okay, so like I said, whether or not you're a Patriots fan or a Seahawks fan or don't like the NFL at all, there are lessons to be learned there that you can really take forward with your law firm, with your life, and really it will help you achieve the things that you want to achieve. Okay, so that's it for this week. I don't know what episode this is again, but I appreciate you listening and look forward to talking to you again next week. All right, take care. Bye.
Special thanks to you guys for listening, show feedback, and guest suggestions. I rely on you all to keep my finger on the pulse, so if you know someone that is a good fit for the show, let me know. Chris@lawfirmmarketingmastery.com, and of course, Law Firm Confidential details there as well. Go ahead and email or call me honestly. That's the best way to get in touch, and I'll give you everything you need to know about my programs. If you are listening but aren't subscribed in iTunes or Stitcher, go ahead and make the change there, because getting your shows delivered free to your phone or computer while you sleep is the best way to make sure you don't miss anything. Just go to iTunes or Stitcher and search for Law Firm Marketing Mastery. That's it. And if you want to write me a nice review, I'll love you forever there as well, because it helps other people find me, and it's really important to keep my show ranks up. So tell your friends, because the greatest compliment you can give us is a referral to someone else, either in person or shared on the web. So have a great week. Go out there and take care of business, and know that the work you put in today is going to pay off 10 times over tomorrow.